So in the last line of the paper, Prabhupada says that the idea impressed herein is that the Supreme Lord is conscious of every part of his body, and nowhere in the creation is there anything beyond his control. So everything is under the control of Supreme Personality of Godhead, although with our naked eye we cannot see it. For example, during the daytime we see the sun in the sky. At the nighttime we see there millions of stars. There's moon, and the scientists or the astrologers with their telescopes can see different planets orbiting around the Earth planet or the Sun planet, or orbiting around each other planets. Now, who is holding these planets in their orbits? It is maintained by Lord Shri Krishna. As Shukadeva Goswami very nicely says, Shriyaha Patir Yajnapatihi Prajapatir Dhiyam Patir Lokapatir Dharapatihi. So he says, Krishna is the master of all opulences, Shriyaha Patir. And Yajnapati, he is the enjoyer or the benefactor of all sacrifices. Prajapatihi, he is the leader and the controller of all the living entities who are his praja. Dhiyampati, and he is the director of intelligence. Now, as far as the planets are concerned, he is Dharapatihi. Dhara means earth. So the earth is existing in its orbit, and whatever is happening, the produce in the earth, the seas, the mountains, the fire element, the earth, everything is due to the energy of Krishna. He is Patihi, the master, the owner of this dhara, this bhutal. And then Lokapati, there are so many other planets and universes which are in the material sky, and Krishna is the proprietor and the controller of all these planets. But with our naked with our naked eyes, when we look out into the universe, we cannot see Krishna there holding all these planets by his bodily limbs. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter that he maintains all these universes along these planets by his unmanifested form. Unmanifested form. Sometimes, we see a magician. He, through his naked focus eyes, he can raise some material thing from the ground or the table into the air. And everyone becomes astonished by such magical act. But Krishna, who is lifting all the planets by his unmanifested material energies, Jagat Avyakta Murtina, in the 9th chapter of Srīmad Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Jagat Avyakta Murtina, that Krishna is upholding everything by his unmanifested energies. So, as an extract or as an abstract to explain these phenomena, the Virat Roop of the Lord is used, which here is signified the word Kalpayanti. We all who come from Indian speaking background can understand Kalpana means just imagining. And so this Virat form of the Lord is just a representation of the workings of the Lord of this universal form, but it is not actually the real form of the Lord, as misunderstood by especially materialists. But nonetheless, nothing wrong with it, as explained in Bhagavad Gita, because at least it puts some faith into the minds of people that yes, there is a supreme authority. And when they become more and more uh, inclined towards investigating, and they become more and more inclined towards having the jignasa, inquisitiveness to know the truth, then by taking shelter of the scriptures, they realize it. Otherwise, they would never come to this conclusion that ultimately, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Saha Mahatma Sudurlabha. That after many, many lives, one can come to this understanding, Bahunam Janmanamante, that Vasudevam Sarvam Iti, that Krishna is all in all. But such a Mahatma is very, very rare. So, how is Krishna to be approached and worshipped? In Bhagavad Gita, again, 9th chapter. And I'll be referring quite a bit to the 9th chapter because this universal form is very nicely explained in one of the verses. But before we get there, as Prabhupada says in the preface, that the two-handed form of the Lord is the supreme form, the Shyam Sundar form of the Lord. And this is actually the real form, the eternal form. Yan Shama Sundaram Achintya Kunaswarupam. So the Sham Sundar form of the Lord Shyama means one who is dark, like a newly formed rain cloud. Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya. And this form is inconceivable. Rup Goswami very nicely says, Smeram Bhangitrayam. The Lord in this form is Smeram. Smeram means he's smiling. Bhangitraya, and from his three bodily parts, he is bent. Parichitam, Sachi Vistirna Drishtim, and he's giving a Broadway look side glance. Krishna never looks straight. He looks sideways through the pupils within his eyeballs. And Vamshinyastadaraha Kishalayam Ujvalam Chandrakena. And on his hands, he's holding the flute, Vamshi. And with that Vamshi, he is Adhara Kishalayam. He's touching his lips. And on a full moon night, Ujvalam Chandrakena, this Supreme Lord, this boy is standing, and his name is Govinda Kyamarihi Tanumita. His name is Govinda. Thank you so much for bringing this verse up. Govinda Kyamarihi Tanumita. So his name is Govinda, and Harihi Tanumitaha. His bodily form, tanum, is not of this material form, not of these material elements, like the Virat representation is. Virat representation is the material representation. But Krishna's original form is Harihitnanumitaha, Keshitir Topakante. And on the banks of Yamuna Rima, on the ghat known as Keshi, and this is a Tirthasthan because Krishna stands there, Upakante, and he is playing this flute. And Rupa Goswami says, Ma prekshastava yadi sakhe bandhu sanga stiranga. That my dear friend, bandhu, ma prekshishthas, please don't look at this boy. Tava yadi sakhe. If bandhu sanga stiranga, if you are attached to your relatives, friends, your associates, your husbands, your wives. Why? Because the form of this Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shyama Sundara, is so captivating that it will immediately take away all all your attachments and repose it in the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna means one who attracts and one who really meditates with attention and care as given by the acharyas, then they cannot help but be attached to the Supreme Lord Krishna. They will find that this material world is tasteless and bitter. But Krishna is the only reservoir of pleasure and only reservoir of sweetness. So how to approach Krishna? In the 13th verse of the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says to Arjuna, the great souls, how they approach him. So he says, Mahatma nastu mam partha. Mahatma means great souls. And he says what they do? Devim prakritimāshritaha. They take shelter of Krishna's divine nature, Devim Prakriti. So there is divine nature and then there is the inferior nature. But when devotees take shelter of divine nature by chanting and taking shelter of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so the word Hare appears in the Mahamantra 8 times. And this Hare represents Srimati Radhika. And this Hare is the internal potency of the Lord. And by taking shelter of Radha, we are able to approach Krishna and Rama. Rama here refers to Krishna's name, meaning Radha Ramana, one who is always experiencing the pleasure in exchanging the mellows of devotion with Radhika, one who is Radha Ramana, who is always doing Ramana with Radha. What do these Mahatmas do? Bhajante ananya manaso. Ananya means without deviation. Manaso means mind. Without deviation of mind, they worship Krishna. Because they know Jnatva bhutadimavvyayam, that the Krishna is bhuta of the creation, adim, the origin. So the topic of this chapter is the cause of all causes. And Krishna is bhuta adim avyayam, the inexhaustible original creator. He can go on with his creation activity, but he will not exhaust. That is the definition of the Lord. Yam pashyanti na pashyantam, chakshur tasya na rishyati. He looks everywhere. But when we look everywhere, our eyes, the power of our eyes diminish. But with Krishna, no, he's inexhaustible. His power of sight, his power of activity, his power of raw materials, his power of ingredients, his power of the illumination, it is inexhaustible. Whereas if Brahma does the same thing, Brahma will exhaust himself. Whereas the living entity, what to speak of living entities, after a few hours of working hard, we are tired. And we need to rejuvenate ourselves by taking shelter of water, by taking shelter of food, by taking rest. But Krishna is inexhaustible, avyayam. And how do these devotees worship? Krishna says in the next verse, Satatam kirtayanto mam. They're always chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And they're endeavoring, yatantascha dridhavrata, with great determination to do that. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya. They are bowing down before this two-handed form of Krishna. Gnatva namasyant nitya yukata upasate. And in this way, they are always engaged in doing upasana of Krishna. Now, the next verse, number 15, then Krishna goes on to explain what do others do? Others who are not Mahatmas. So Krishna says, please pay careful attention to this. Jnana yagnena chap anye. What does anye mean? Anyone?
Others.
Very good. Others. So, so who is not others here? Krishna has already described and we have discussed already.
Others than the devotees. The Mahatmas?
Yeah, very good. Both Jayanti Mataji and Nilima Mataji are correct. The devotees who are Mahatmas. So remember 2 verses before, Krishna says Mahatmas. The Mahatmas, they regard Krishna as Gnatva Bhutadim, the original inexhaustible Lord, and they, by kirtan of chanting of Hare Krishna, they worship him. But others, Anye, Jnana Yagnena Chap Anye, others, they do their worship of Krishna in this way. Yajantaha, sacrifices, upasate, ekatvena, in oneness, prithakvena, in duality, bahuda, in diversity, vishvata mukham, in the universal form. Bahuda vishvato mukham. So the universal form of the Lord, the Virat form of the Lord, has bahuda, many mukham, many facets, many faces. So this universal form of the Lord, the worshippers of this universal form of the Lord are not directly worshipping Krishna. They are indirectly worshipping Krishna, but nonetheless, still they are in the right direction, because Krishna is mentioning this in Bhagavad Gita. So anyone who does their worship in this way, and we should not discourage them, we should not disturb them, but we should bring them along with us in this journey of Krishna consciousness. Remember, our aim is not to defeat, oh, you are doing an inferior worship. No, our aim is to encourage, oh, wonderful, you are doing this. This is written in Bhagavad Gita, Bahuda Vishvato Mukham. Krishna says that one who worships Virat Rupa of the Lord, they are worshipping him. Give them Bhagavad Gita. Invite them to your Bhakti Vrikshas. And then sit down with them and make them read Srila Prabhupada's books. So when they read Srila Prabhupada's books, then they will come to realize, yes, this is all but one of the paths. But there is a greater path as well. That path which is taken by Mahatmas. And then they will inquire about, okay, how can I progress? Remember, devotional life means progressively going forward, and not going backwards. So this progress happens in association of Mahatmas, the devotees of the Lord, and through the explanation of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, these verses that we see, that how the Lord is the essential part of the creation. He's the essential ingredient of the creation. But the creation cannot be said to be equal to him. No, he is above his creation. He is aloof from his creation. And the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita very nicely explains how in his unmanifested form, Krishna is maintaining everything. It's like the prime minister or the president of the country. He doesn't need to be near the parking meter of every street and note which cars have paid their parking fees. He doesn't need to be holding the speed camera at every juncture. No, through the executive, what they call jurisdiction and enactment of laws, the energy of the president or the prime minister in this way is pervading and regulating the whole country. So even in the material sense, if we can see that the head of state is able without his personal presence, maintain the workings of a country, then what to speak of the original supreme personality of the Godhead, who is inexhaustible in every way. So what the Lord cannot do. So this is no fairy tale. This is our Supreme Lord Krishna, who can do anything and everything. Thank you so much, Prabhus and Matajis. Do we have any questions or comments? Ajay Prabhu is asking a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my question is, we know that the main goal of life is to reach Krishna, but why do we still keep doing the same things for our own pleasure instead of fully surrendering to Him? So Prabhuji, this is my struggle as well. Because from time immemorial, Prabhupada mentions, we have been associating with the illusory energy of Krishna, Maya, and we take that to be real. Maya Sukhaya Bharam. And this is known as conditioning. So this conditioning does take a while. However, if we become determined in this effort and are able to say no to sense gratification. Now, at the moment in our Sunday classes, His Grace Sakirai Prabhu started last Sunday and will be continuing. There are the verses, the sage of study intelligence, of how we can become steady in this endeavor of making Krishna the main goal of life, and how the control of senses have to be there, control of mind has to be there, because our real problem is our uncontrollable mind and senses. And of course, we don't have refined intelligence, but when we worship Krishna, we get refined intelligence. So how we can engage in devotional service by expert guidance of devotees and spiritual master, that actually will make Krishna the main object of our life. Without association of devotees who are in the same path, there is no hope. Therefore, Govindas Kaviraj says, Durlabhamanava Janama Satsange. This human birth is Durlabha, very rare, very rare. And Janama Satsange, and after having the human birth, the association of devotees who are in this path of Sat, truth, is very rare. However, if we get association of devotees and under their guidance, we do this process of bhakti, tarahoya bhavasindure, then we can cross over this material ocean and attain shelter at lotus feet of Krishna. So yes, daily we have to impress upon our minds by chanting our consciousness, bathing our consciousness with Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This process of chanting 16 rounds is there, and bathing our consciousness by daily hearing Srīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and trying throughout the day to remember Krishna. By this, we may receive the mercy of the Lord, who will reclaim us. Very nice question. Thank you, Ajay Prabhu. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the class. Prabhu, I was thinking, what was Krishna's reason to show Arjuna his Virat roop?
Yes, so same reason, through Arjuna, he is showing the other living entities, us, his Virata Rupa, because something simple, we think it is ordinary. Two-handed form of Krishna, we think is ordinary. And Krishna himself says it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that avajananti mam mudha manusim tanumasritam. That the foolish people, avajananti, they don't know. Avajananti means they don't know. Mam mudha, the foolish. Manusim tanumasritam. When I come in this human form, they don't know. But we don't know that this is human form is made in the God's image. The two-handed form that we have is made, even in Christianity, they have a saying, God created man in his own image. So the God originally is two-handed form. But because we are two-handed form and we are imperfect and we know we are imperfect, then we think that anyone with a two-handed form will be imperfect, and therefore that imperfection we impose upon the God as well. So to impress that the Lord in his unmanifested form, in his abstract form, is Bahuda Vishvato Mukham, the Lord not only with two-handed form, but forms of Sahasra Bhavu, Sahasra Sirisa, Sahasra Purusa, thousands and thousands of mouths, thousands and thousands of legs, thousands and thousands of arms, and so forth, then that has a heavy impression on the on living entities, on us. Oh, this is something very significant and gigantic because it is not two-handed form of the Lord. So this must be something substantial. But after having looked or abstracted this universal form of the Lord, then ultimately we come to the conclusion that Arjuna did, that he cannot engage with this Virata Rupa. He cannot have a relationship with the Virata Rupa. It is a very fearful form. So at the end of the day, then Krishna is requested by Arjuna, "O Madhava, please return to your original two-handed form. This form is very much agonizing my consciousness." So for that reason, yes, I know in year 12 I did an essay on Bhagavad Gita and essay on Mahabharata, and Bhagavad Gita was a part of it. And at that time, my intelligence or my knowledge was like a knowledge of a child. So in that paper, I had written that, oh, Krishna showed his true universal form. And then when my aunt, I gave my aunt to read the paper, and my aunt Bhagavati Mataji, who's Prabhupada's disciple, then she corrected me. This universal form is not the true form of the Lord. It is an imaginary form of the Lord. It is just a representation of the Lord. But of course, as an immature student, this gigantic universal form of the Lord appealed to me more because it can be used as evidence to explain to others who would think, yes, something big means Lord. But for a devotee, the Lord is big, but at the same time, he's approachable. And the two-handed form of the Lord is both for a devotee big, because they know that Krishna is the original source of everything. And at the same time, the two-handed form of the Lord is approachable. Thank you so much for the nice question. Sorry, I've gone over time quite a bit, but we were having some nice questions. Krishna willing, we will all see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful Krishna conscious day. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the beautiful class, and have a blissful day. Thank you, Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Radha Shama Sundra. That's the
I learned the session. Thank you.
Radha Shama Sundra.